Can you actually run a business while you're on maternity leave?
My two businesses, Mood and Space, which is a development consultancy.
The kids will be all right. During that maternity leave, we had co-founded a company. What has been the hardest part of being an entrepreneur and being on mat leave?
I can't sit still.
I just want you to give a one-sentence piece of advice to mums in the same position as you. How does entrepreneurship and maternity leave collide? Can you actually run a business while you're on maternity leave? That's what I'm going to be discussing in this video today with my sister, Tosin, who runs two businesses, is on her maternity leave, and we're just going to discuss how you really juggle motherhood, entrepreneurship, especially when motherhood is very new. I'm Remy. I'm an obstetrics and gynecology doctor. I'm a mother of two, so I've had two maternity leaves. And would you believe it, on my maternity leaves, I ran two separate businesses and also did two separate or different professional exams. And I'm going to let her tell us about herself and what she's doing on her maternity leave.
My name is Tosin Hannah Afolabi. Professionally, I'm known as Hannah Afolabi. I'm a multipreneur, a mom of one, and I guess a wife. My two businesses, Mood and Space, which is a development consultancy that focuses on creating community-focused and positively socially impactful buildings, specifically residential-led development in London. My second business, and what I used to call my side hustle, but has grown, is Black Women in Real Estate. And this is a social enterprise which focuses at increasing the number of Black women entering into industry. I have a couple of other business ideas in the pipeline, but we'll come to that in the
context of this video.
Yes.
So apologies if you hear baby crying in the background.
Yes.
This is authentic, this is real, this is motherhood and juggling and everything in between.
Everything.
Right?
And the basis of this video.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're hoping that this video will resonate with any mums out there who are thinking about entrepreneurship, thinking about starting a business, or even thinking about just getting further along in your career. I have a few questions for Tosin that I think will help us tease out how she has navigated running two businesses, being on maternity leave, looking forward to going back to work, and what that really means to juggle it all.
Yeah.
So before we go to the first question, as I was prepping for this video, I will just never forget something that an uncle said to me. On my first maternity leave, an uncle came to visit, as we do in our culture, and he sat down after carrying the baby, giving us a gift. He looked at me and said, "So what are you going to spend the next year doing? What business are you going to create?" And I was a bit like, bro, I'm just going to take a year off and enjoy my maternity leave.
And my baby.
Yeah. Having said that, during that maternity leave, we had co-founded a company. It was a yoga studio. It was based in Hackney. And I spent a lot of my maternity leave helping to run that. My first question to Tosin, following on from that, is what has been the hardest part of being an entrepreneur and being on mat leave?
The hardest part of being an entrepreneur and being on mat leave is the limitation of time you have. And I'll actually take it back a step to when I was initially pregnant. And for me personally, my first trimester, and actually like throughout the whole pregnancy, I was extremely fatigued. And so that, like, the extent of tiredness that I had meant that I wasn't able to do as much as I used to. I just consistently was not operating at my full capacity, and I was really frustrated with myself, with my body. And at some point I just realized that I was no longer someone without a dependent. I now have someone that I have to look after, and I think that kind of that started that process of just accepting that I can't work at the same level of capacity I used to. And so actually during pregnancy, I was actively preparing to slow down. So what I would say is the identity, and the self-awareness and honesty that is required to reflect on who you now are with child has been the hardest part of being an entrepreneur and mother. There are several difficult things about being a mother, but the combination and intersectionality of being both an entrepreneur or multipreneur, and mother is really about accepting your reduced capacity.
Yeah. And I think that, again, I don't think I've necessarily owned a business to the extent that Tosin does now, but I would argue as well that you cannot switch off mentally, because when you have a 9 to 5, like a typical 9 to 5, when you're on mat leave, you've literally assigned all your work to somebody else. But if you're running 2 companies, that's really hard to do if you've not already set the company up to be handled by somebody else, right?
Yeah.
So I think what you're saying is right in that you're having to come to grips with the fact that you are no longer just responsible for yourself, but you also have to come to grips with the fact that as a business owner, you actually never switch off.
Yeah, and I was speaking to someone about this recently because she also is a business owner, and I just had to reflect on the fact that actually my businesses are my first babies, I would say.
Yeah, but then they're not.
They're not physical babies, but they are ideas. These are ideas and energy you put into, and actually you have sacrificed for them to some extent as well. And I think the realization that these are now, they will be secondary to your new lifestyle is actually very, very important in the honesty of what you're trying to achieve. But actually accepting that not every goal, not every aim that you had for your businesses have to happen today.
Yeah.
That there is a chapter in your life for every single stage. This is my chapter of motherhood. Everything comes secondary to that chapter in my life. And just appreciating that however, like you're saying, you don't ever stop dreaming. You don't ever stop hoping for your business to grow and to adapt. And, one of the things that I've been doing on mat leave is reflecting on how to be better at my businesses and how I can grow my businesses. I guess there's a little bit more time because you have to slow down to enable that reflection, especially on your walks while your baby's napping.
Okay, so how many Audible books have you listened to that are business related? Quite
a few. So you recommended the How to Be a Millionaire.
We should all be millionaires. My favourite book and favourite author of the season.
Yeah, and actually I listened to that maybe in her first month.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Maybe we should rewind and say that a hyper overactive individual.
What does
that mean? I don't even know what it means. But basically, I can't sit still.
We can't sit still. Yeah, we can't sit still.
And so when Remy was like, oh, I've read this book, and we were talking, I was like, okay, I'm going to read the book. So when I say read, I mean listen with my audiobook subscription.
But the book is so good that it actually makes you reflect on things. So then you are kind of working as you're reading the book.
Yeah, but even just the reflections around boundaries, around how to set up your life. Outsourcing. That has been my biggest takeaway in terms of outsourcing, because reading that in the first month, obviously we were reading, myself and my husband were reading baby books up until she was born, and I was still looking at apps and blogs, but I was like, how do I transition now, or how do I get myself prepared to get back into work after this quite intense period of time? And so We Should All Be Millionaires, who's the author?
Rachel Rogers.
By Rachel Rogers, is a great way to reflect on how to set up your life and the things around you that are necessary for you to operate at the level of a millionaire.
And I think it's really telling that it's coming from someone who is a mum and who is African American, so is a minority. And I think that's why I resonated more with the book, because actually if you're listening to a book on productivity on business by someone who's not played the role that you have, it's harder to take from it. But actually the setting up of your life, I have found best takeaway from the books.
Yeah, definitely. And actually it prompted me to look at all the activities in my life that need to be done. So not just business, what happens in my day to day? How do I schedule my life? Who do I need?
Who do you need?
What does my team need to look like? Do I need a personal assistant? Do I need a nanny? At what time do I start engaging those people again, preparing for getting back into work. And I think structure is so invaluable in this, at least for me, in this new phase of life, as in knowing when and where I'm going to be, despite having to manage that with nap time and baby being sporadic and consistently growing. Just having some form of baseline structure has been really, really important for me. To be able to feel like I still have some semblance of control. Yeah.
So I think we spoke about being very clear on who you need, what structure you need. But I would argue that there are other mindset shifts that have to happen to be able to run a business, be on maternity leave, have a newborn, so to speak. So what have you employed for yourself?
I think it's the saying no part that has been really important. So like, as I said, like understanding the time I actually have available for myself, for baby, for husband, for house, for personal development has been really key. But then on top of that, it's saying no. So like, I still get contacted for speaking opportunities or speaking engagements or events that I used to go to while I was full-time, I say full-time, but working within Black women in real estate. And actually, I'm on mat leave, I have to say no. And sometimes that's hard. You know, like these are really amazing opportunities, but I can't do it. I either don't have childcare or, you know, I'm on maternity leave. So genuinely can't actually do those things. Being realistic, it's understanding that, again, this is my chapter for motherhood. When this chapter of my life is past, I can get back into doing all the things I was doing before and potentially more. Asking for help is like absolutely key. Like when you need a break, when you need childcare support. Obviously, I have my husband, but I have my sisters. I now have a nanny. Like understanding where you might need more time, like from your nanny, and the flexibility that comes with being flexible. Say again, it's like, in reality, this day has started off not as I intended. Like I had hoped for XYZ to happen. Just kind of getting on with it, understanding what your priority goals are for that day, and just moving forward with that is very, very important. But yeah, I think like for me, what the next like at least 6 months as she's getting older looks like is understanding who my team are, like getting my processes right in terms of mental processes, like just finding better apps, using AI, all of these things to make myself significantly more efficient for when I go back into work full time. And I've got another video on this channel, it might be before or after this video, where I talk about how motherhood helped my career. And I think the things that motherhood teach you is to be efficient and to be time efficient. So if you only have half an hour between nap times, between breastfeeding, to get a bit of work done, you then don't then spend 15 minutes working your way into it like you would have done beforehand, and it just makes you much more efficient with your time. I think starting businesses on mat leave or having a business or running a business on mat leave isn't new. There are lots of companies that do really well actually that have been founded by women when they were on their maternity leaves. I will often look at them and be like, but how have you actually done it, right? Where are the steps? Someone write a book about starting a business on maternity leave. That's a good idea, actually.
Write a book, right? Like, I want to know what the steps are, because I can't, hand on my heart, say that I did it effectively when I did it. But I feel like you're doing it, and you're not like, although you're on mat leave and you're not, like, say, actively working, but you're not invisible.
Yeah, I would say, right, the fact that you did it is enough. I don't think perfection is the recipe for entrepreneurship.
That's fair.
I believe that what holds most people back, and sometimes myself back, is this idea that it has to like be absolutely impeccable and meet this like crazy invisible standard that I've set for myself before putting it out in the world. But actually, sometimes when I just put it out there and just get it started, and then I can just refine it. And actually, Mood and Space was that for me. Like, I know I didn't start it on my mat leave, but when I did start it, I just created this website, I just put it out there, and bam, I got my first client. And I was like, oh, this is actually a proof of concept. Let me keep building on this. And actually it's then grown from there. Like I have repeat clients, I have, subcontractors, I have now got like other people within my team who are supporting the development of the business. And that came about just saying, I'm going to do this and just getting something out there. In the next, again, on mat leave, reflecting on what could be improved. In the next year or so, I see myself refining the brand, updating the messaging. But that's not where it started. And I guess like where I am now, thinking about what else I want to do, what other businesses I want to start. Again, it's a really great opportunity to use this kind of quiet and this space to just kind of get something out there.
Yeah.
And not overthink it.
Yeah. But I guess let's be realistic though, because it's not quiet and it's not space.
No.
It's maternity leave, it's raising a baby, it's doing all those things
Yeah.
that are involved in that.
Yeah.
So I feel like when I was on maternity leave, both times, I made friends.
Yeah.
But I made friends in baby groups. I made friends in
Antenatal
NCT.
clinic,
Yeah. But I didn't really make, people that I felt like were truly my tribe, right?
Yeah.
And your tribe will be different for different things. Like you'll have a church tribe, you'll have a family, friends type tribe. But then there are also times during your maternity leave that you just want to have work chat. Like you just want to talk to someone and have it not be about a baby.
Yeah.
So my question to you with that is, how are you finding your tribe of mompreneurs who are in the same stage? How are you finding that?
Yeah. So actually, one of the things that I value, and I would say that I am learning, is my thing, I would say, is community. Community is everything. And I really value this through Black Women in Real Estate and the ladies that I've managed to connect with there and the growing community there. It is a game changer. And so when I became a mum and like mat leave started, one of the things I was saying to you was, actually, I don't have people who are in this kind of like intersectionality of entrepreneur and mother. Like there aren't many places for that. And speaking to Remy again, who is starting that journey for herself, obviously is still working as a doctor. It was like, actually, we need more spaces like this. And so where I find them now is like through connections or through conversations. But what I want to do, and what the business idea I've been alluding to, is launch this community called Parenthood, targeted at women and men who are parents but also business owners, and creating space for them to come together to talk about their business, to talk about how they're managing, scheduling their time with being on mat leave, with having children. But also like just talk about business principles as well, like speaking to women who've done it well, like you said, having that kind of like step or playbook that says, how do I be a mum, but also set up a business as a side hustle to my day job, or as a side hustle to me being a full-time mum.
Yeah, no, I think that sounds super exciting. I think as well, aside from the fact that we do too much and you are now looking to be a business owner of 3 businesses, I think it's a space that's truly needed.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're pivoting chapters in life, other things pivot with it as well.
Yeah.
So like, I'm in obs and gynae, very passionate about obs and gynae, but actually what I'm now learning or really leaning into is the skills I've gained by juggling motherhood, a demanding career, and starting or having had side hustles along the way. And wanting to share that experience and that expertise really with people who are coming up behind me. So I think you have to give yourself grace that in different eras in life, you will pick up new skills, want new things, want different things.
Yeah.
I hope you've made it this far. I just want you to give a 1-sentence piece of advice to mums in the same position as you.
Be true to yourself. When you first become a mum, there is this idea and assumption that you want to give all of your energy to your baby. And I think there is space for that, but also don't lose yourself. If you know you are an ambitious person, you love working, you have created businesses, and you want space to also like, you know, have intellectual conversations, there's also that opportunity. I believe that your baby thrives when you're thriving, and I've really enjoyed being mum to my baby, but I think it's because I've had the space to do things that are really important to me still, like read an audiobook, like have intellectual conversations, like have this podcast. And so not losing myself in all that is motherhood and what society says is my standard. At the same time, if you're an entrepreneur and you just say, actually, I want to take a break and use this time to just spend all the time with my baby, go for it. But it's really understanding what is true to yourself, and spending the time to really reflect and know who you are. But I think that also comes through conversation, and that's where community is so important. And so I believe that parent owned, once it is fully launched, will be that space for people to just kind of determine where and what they want to do with their maternity leave, with their motherhood journey or parenthood journey, and their business journey.
Yeah, no, I think that's 100% accurate. I think women are often, like, we often feel like we have to live up to a standard. And I'll never forget being in a group of mums after like we went swimming, our babies had swimming, and then we had a picnic, and someone was like talking about the love they felt as soon as their baby was born, and I was just like, yeah, sure, like very apathetic. And I just felt that I was instantly judged, because how dare you not be in love with this thing that's just come out your vagina, right? So I say this to say that your motherhood journey will look very different to somebody else's, and there is often this compulsion that if you're a mum, you have to be a mum first. Hell no, like you can do it whichever way you want to do it. Like obviously make sure the kids are all right, but trust me, the kids will be all right as long as you've got like good intentions and you're coming at it from a healed perspective and not a toxic place.
Yeah, definitely. You are definitely you first.
Yeah,
you know?
100%.
Your baby will grow up and leave you.
Yeah.
And so it's making sure that you continue to pour into who you are, to enable you to pour into your child and
your family and your community and your businesses
and
like
your career.
Like I've got this thing, like you've got a mind map where you are the person at the top and everything comes from you. And not the other way around. But yeah, in fear of making this video much longer, thank you so much for coming on my channel. So yeah, if you have any thoughts on motherhood, maternity leave, entrepreneurship, how you're managing to thrive, drop it down in the comments below for the community to also learn from. If you would like to see any more specific videos with Tosin, let me know and I'll beg her to come back. Otherwise, please like, comment and subscribe. Share it to people who you feel will benefit from the things we've discussed, and hopefully help them along their own motherhood journey. Until next time.
See ya. Bye.